You mentioned that you're pregnant and due in December, and congratulations. You had a C-section with your first and want to attempt a VBAC this time. Now, as long as you've talked to your doctor and they said that based on your individual set of circumstances, a VBAC is appropriate, it's totally fine to try one. But there are some things that you should know going into the process. You mentioned the risk of a uterine rupture, and that is the greatest risk when attempting a VBAC. We always worry, once we've made an incision on the uterus, that it's going to be a weak point forevermore. It heals nicely, but next time you get pregnant, it starts to contract, and it puts stress on that weak spot. It could potentially rupture. Similar to if I was to make a big incision down my bicep and I started lifting heavy weight, it could burst open. A uterine rupture is potentially life-threatening to a mother and a baby. But thankfully it only happens 1% of the time. And because of this low risk, a VBAC can be attempted if done in the right place. For example, it needs to be done in a high-risk hospital that's capable of handling an emergent situation. And you also need to go to a doctor who's capable of doing an emergency C-section if one was necessary, if a uterine rupture happened. Now, you asked a really good question about induction and how it relates to attempting a VBAC. And your doctor is probably going to be pretty reluctant in doing an induction for you. Because in order to induce you, we have to start Pitocin and get you going when your body hasn't been doing anything spontaneously. And it's ideal when you're attempting a VBAC for your body to start into labor on its own. And then if we need to help you out a little bit later, then we can. We can do things like break your water and even start a little bit of Pitocin, but we are much more judicious with the use of Pitocin if we are inducing someone who is attempting a VBAC, because we know, again, that weak point on the uterus could cause a risk. So your doctor would use less Pitocin and be very careful with it. Typically speaking, most doctors suggest that you just wait to see if you go into labor spontaneously. And then if you get to the point that where you're 41 weeks, a week overdue, then you can talk about a plan. Is your cervix ripe or prepared enough for labor that maybe they could just try breaking your water and starting a little bit of Pitocin and seeing what happens? Or would it just be best for you to do a C-section at that point? So it's kind of done on a case-by-case basis, but again, inductions are not typically done for people who are attempting VBACs. It's much better if you go into labor on your own. If you have more specific questions about it, be sure to talk with your doctor. But if you have any other questions for me in the future, feel free to ask them on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Intermountain Moms, and recommend us to your friends and family too.